The CB Channel 17 warning. I've been driving long-haul routes for 14 years. Snowstorms in Montana. Dust devils in Arizona. Endless black highways through Nebraska cornfields. Nothing ever scared me. Until Route 17 in northern Wyoming. It was late November. The kind of cold that seeps through steel. My load was frozen beef headed to Billings. Easy money. Quiet night. No traffic. No headlights for miles. Just me, the engine hum, and the radio static. That's when my CB crackled. And someone whispered my name. I hadn't touched the MIC. Breaker, breaker, you shouldn't be on this road tonight. The voice was low. Gravelly. Like someone speaking through sand. I checked the display. Channel 17. I never use 17. Most truckers stick to 19. Everyone knows that. I grabbed the MIC. Who's this? Static. Then. You passed the mile marker. You weren't supposed to. A chill slid down my spine. There hadn't been a single truck behind me for over an hour. No taillights. No rest stops. No exits. Just forest. And darkness. I told myself it was a bored driver messing around. Happens all the time. Copy that, I muttered. Real funny. Then my GPS blinked. Signal lost. I looked at my phone. No bars. That's normal in Wyoming. But then something wasn't. The highway sign ahead didn't match my route. It read, Route 17, closed ahead. I slammed the brakes slightly. Closed. Dispatch said nothing about construction. And I hadn't seen a single warning sign. The CB crackled again. You're still driving. That same voice. Closer this time. I felt my chest tighten. How do you know that? I asked. Silence. Then faintly. We can see you. I checked my mirrors. Nothing. Just black road behind me. No headlights. No movement. No life. Then my sleeper cab door thudded. Once. Hard. I nearly swerved. No one could be back there. The truck was sealed. Locked. I pulled onto the shoulder. Bad idea. I know. But I needed to check. The engine idled loudly in the stillness. I grabbed my flashlight. Stepped down into the snow. The cold hit like knives. I walked around the trailer. Nothing. No footprints except mine. No vehicles. No tracks in the snow. But when I reached the rear doors, there was writing in the frost. 3 words. You missed it. My stomach dropped. Missed what? I hadn't stopped anywhere. Hadn't passed anyone. I wiped the frost away. Gone. Just smooth ice. I stood there breathing hard, telling myself I was tired. Too many miles. Too little sleep. That's when every clearance light on my trailer went out. Total darkness. Engine still running. Headlights still on. But the trailer behind me. Pitch black. And from inside it, something slammed. Impossible. It was sealed at the distribution center. 40,000 pounds of frozen meat. Nothing alive. The metal bowed outward again. Boom. Like something throwing itself against the walls. My radio exploded with static. Open it, the voice whispered. Let it out. I stumbled backward. No. The pounding stopped. Silence. Then a slow scraping sound from inside the trailer. Dragging. Heavy. Moving toward the rear doors. I ran back to the cab. Slammed the door. Locked it. The CB lit up by itself. No one was transmitting. But I could hear breathing. Deep. Wet. And not human. You were warned, the voice said calmly now. You passed the mile marker. What mile marker? I shouted. There had been dozens. The dashboard flickered. For half a second. The outside world changed. The trees were gone. The snow was gone. The road was cracked and empty. Abandoned. Like it hadn't been used in decades. Then everything snapped back. My odometer reset to 0. I stared at it. 0 miles. But I'd been driving for hours. The CB whispered again. You're still on it. On what? I shoved the truck into gear. Pressed the gas. The speedometer climbed. But the scenery didn't change. The same bent pine tree stayed ahead of me. No matter how far I drove. Like I was stuck in place. Looping. Then I saw it. On the side of the road. A truck. Same model as mine. Same company logo. Engine off. Lights dead. Driver door open. I slowed. Against my better judgment. The name printed on the door was mine. The CB hissed. That one stopped. I couldn't breathe. I stepped out again. Walked toward the other truck. Inside. The cab was frozen solid. Ice covering the steering wheel. The seat. The dashboard. Like it had been sitting there for years. And in the sleeper. Something was moving under the blanket. Slowly. Turning toward me. That's when I heard my own voice behind me. Don't look. I turned. And I was standing there. Same jacket. Same face. But pale. Eyes black. Frost creeping across my skin. You missed the marker, he said. Then he smiled. And every light on my real truck went out. Every light on my truck died. Engine. Headlights. Dashboard. Total darkness swallowed the highway. The only illumination came from the other truck, the frozen one, its interior glowing faint blue from somewhere deep inside the sleeper. My double was still standing in front of me. Not moving. Not blinking. Snow fell through him like smoke. You don't remember crossing it, he said softly. But you did. Crossing what? My voice cracked. He pointed behind me. I turned slowly. There was no highway anymore. Just a narrow bridge. Broken in the middle. The bridge stretched into fog. Half of it missing. Beyond the gap, more road. My road. Route 17. You kept driving, my double continued. You never stopped at the closure. I never saw a bridge, I whispered. His smile widened. You don't see it until after. The frozen truck behind me groaned loudly. Metal twisting. The shape under the blanket sat up. The blanket slid down slowly, revealing a body. My body. Skin gray. Eyes open. Frozen in terror. My knees buckled. No, that's not real. You drove through, my double said calmly. November 17th, 2:13 a.m. The time hit me like a hammer. That's when the storm was worst. Black ice. Zero visibility. He leaned closer. You never felt the fall. The world flickered again. And suddenly, I was inside my truck. Not standing outside. Driving. Snow blinding my windshield. CB static screaming. Speedometer at 62 miles per hour. And ahead. No road. Just empty space. I slammed the brakes. Nothing happened. The pedal felt loose. Like it wasn't connected to anything. The truck launched forward. Weightless. The sensation of falling. Metal screaming. Glass shattering. Cold air crushing my lungs. Then silence. Pitch black. Then. Back to the bridge. Back to my double. You died instantly, he said. Lucky, compared to the others. Others. I choked. He gestured into the darkness below the broken bridge. Shapes moved down there. Twisted metal. Headlights flickering far beneath. Trucks piled on top of each other in the void. And inside each cab. Movement. They don't know yet, he whispered. They're still driving. The CB crackled again. Now dozens of voices. All confused. All scared. All units. Anyone copy? Where's the road? My GPS just reset. What mile marker am I at? Channel 17. Every one of them. They crossed it too, my double said. The marker doesn't warn you. It counts you. A cold realization settled in. The odometer resetting. The looping road. The repeated pine tree. I hadn't been driving forward. I'd been replaying the last stretch. Over. And over. And over. Why show me? I asked. Because you stopped, he replied. You got out. That made no sense. I never stopped before the fall. He shook his head. You stopped tonight. Behind him, my real truck flickered back into existence. Engine humming. Headlights on. Bridge gone. Highway normal again. Snow falling peacefully. You can go back, he said quietly. But you won't leave. What does that mean? You'll drive. You'll warn them. But they won't listen. The frozen corpse inside the other truck suddenly opened its mouth. And screamed. Not in pain. In rage. The sound shook the sky. My double stepped backward toward the void. One more thing, he said. You were the voice. The realization hit me like the crash all over again. The gravelly whisper. The warning. The name. I was the one on Channel 17. Trapped between the moment before impact and the moment after. Trying to stop myself. Trying to stop anyone. But always too late. The CBMIC in my real truck lifted by itself. Floating. Waiting. My double faded into the snow. The bridge vanished. The other truck disappeared. And I was back in my cab. Engine running. Highway clear. Like nothing happened. The CB hissed softly. Silence. Then, headlights appeared far behind me in the mirror. Another truck. Coming fast. I looked at the clock. 2:12 a.m. The mile marker ahead read. My hand moved on its own. Grabbed the MIC. Static filled the cab. I tried not to speak. Tried to fight it. But the words came anyway. Low. Gravelly. Like they weren't mine. Breaker, breaker. I swallowed. And whispered. You shouldn't be on this road tonight. The way station that wasn't there. I don't ignore way stations. No experienced driver does. Fines are brutal. Licenses disappear. Companies don't forgive that kind of mistake. So when the illuminated sign over I-80 flashed, all trucks exit, way station open, I signaled and merged right. It was 1:47 a.m. Nevada desert. Nothing but sand, wind, and darkness for miles. I hadn't seen another vehicle in almost 30 minutes. Still, the sign blinked steadily. Bright. Official. Impossible to miss. So I took the exit. That's when things got strange. The ramp felt longer than normal. Way stations are usually right off the highway. Quick in. Quick out. But this road stretched nearly half a mile into the desert. No buildings at first. No lights except mine. Then suddenly, floodlights snapped on ahead. Blinding white. Revealing a full inspection station. Open bays. Scale platform. Office building. Even DOT vehicles parked outside. It looked real. Too real. I rolled my windows down slightly. No voices. No radios. No engines idling. Just wind. A digital board flashed. Truck 4821. Proceed to scale 2. That was my unit number. I froze. There's no way they could have scanned that yet. I hadn't crossed any sensors. Hadn't even rolled onto the scale. All right, I muttered. Maybe new tech. Maybe automated. I pulled onto scale 2. The metal creaked under my weight. Then the red light turned on. Stop. I waited. No one approached. No officer stepped out. No door opened. Nothing. My CB stayed silent. My phone had full signal. That part bothered me. Out here, you barely get 1 bar. I texted another driver I knew was an hour behind me. You hit way station at mile 214 yet? 3 dots appeared instantly. Then, what way station? I stared at the message. On I-80. Open. All trucks exiting. A pause. Then, there ain't one out there. My chest tightened. I looked back toward the interstate. From the scale, I could see the overpass. Cars were driving by. None of them were exiting. Just me. The speaker crackled above me. A distorted, automated voice. Driver of Unit 4821, step out of the vehicle. I hesitated. That didn't sound like any DOT officer I'd ever heard. It sounded layered. Like multiple voices speaking at once. I opened my door slowly. The desert air felt wrong. Still. Heavy. Like before a storm. But there were no clouds. I stepped down onto the concrete. The office door creaked open by itself. No one inside. Lights flickering. Driver, please enter. The voice came from everywhere. I walked toward the building carefully. Inside, the air was cold. Colder than outside. A long counter stretched across the room. Behind it, inspection forms stacked neatly. Coffee mug steaming. Computer screen glowing. Chair slowly spinning. But no person. I swallowed hard. Hello. The computer monitor flickered. Security camera footage filled the screen. My truck on the scale. Then another camera angle. My truck again. But wrecked. Crashed. wrapped around a concrete barrier. I stepped back. That's not real. The footage zoomed in on the crashed version. The windshield shattered. The cab crushed. And inside, I could see myself slumped over the wheel, blood running down my forehead. The timestamp read, 1:49 a.m. 2 minutes from now. My breathing became shallow. "This is a joke," I whispered. The office lights shut off. Darkness swallowed the room. Then emergency red lights flickered on. Slow. Pulsing. The speaker returned. Weight limit exceeded. My stomach dropped. My load was under legal weight. I triple-checked before leaving Reno. Weight limit exceeded, it repeated. The floor beneath me trembled slightly, like something massive had stepped onto the scale. But I was inside. My truck was empty. Or at least, it should have been. The computer screen changed again. Now it showed underneath my trailer. Darkness. Then movement. Something clinging to the axle. Long. Thin. Too many joints. It began crawling upward toward the trailer doors. The timestamp advanced. 1:48 a.m. 1 minute away. The speaker whispered this time. Remain inside. The office door slammed shut behind me. Locked. I ran to it. Wouldn't budge. Through the window I saw my truck. But it wasn't sitting level anymore. The suspension sagged hard. Like something impossibly heavy had climbed inside. The security feed switched to inside my trailer. But that's impossible. There are no interior cameras. Yet I was looking at my cargo. Boxes stacked perfectly. Then one box shifted. Then another. They began sliding. Crushing inward. As if something massive was unfolding in the center. A shape rose slowly from between the pallets. Too tall for the trailer. Its spine bent sideways unnaturally. Its head pressed against the ceiling. The metal roof bulged upward. The timestamp hit. 1:49 a.m. The screen cut to black. Outside. A deafening metallic explosion. My trailer imploded. Not outward. Inward. Like gravity reversed. The entire vehicle collapsed into itself silently. No debris flying. No fire. Just gone. The way station lights flickered wildly. The speaker said one final thing. Inspection complete. Everything went dark. Darkness swallowed everything. No red lights. No floodlights. No computer screens. Just black. I couldn't even see my own hands. Then, a faint hum returned. Fluorescent lights flickered back on one by one. The office looked normal again. Clean. Silent. Empty. The door behind me slowly clicked unlocked. I rushed outside. My truck was back. Perfectly intact. Sitting calmly on scale 2. Engine idling. Like nothing had happened. No dents. No damage. No collapsed trailer. Just quiet desert air. My hands trembled as I climbed into the cab. The dashboard clock read 1:48 a.m. 1 minute before the crash I'd seen on the monitor. That's not possible, I whispered. The CB suddenly crackled. Channel 19 this time. A normal voice. Anyone else see that sign back there? Another driver. Real. Alive. My heart pounded. I grabbed the MIC. What sign? The way station. Said all trucks exit. Then it disappeared. My blood ran cold. Disappeared? I asked. Yeah, he replied. Exit ramps just dirt. No building. I slowly looked toward the office. The building lights flickered faintly. Then, went out. The speaker outside activated again. But softer. Almost gentle. Driver of Unit 4821. Weight still exceeded. My trailer shifted violently. The entire truck rocked. I looked at my gauges. Everything normal. Axle weight fine. Load secure. Then the rear camera screen flickered on by itself. Live feed from the back of my trailer. But I don't have a rear interior camera. And yet, I was looking inside again. The boxes were stacked. Unmoved. Still. Until one of them slowly tipped over. No wind. No vibration. Just deliberate movement. Something underneath them was breathing. The timestamp overlay appeared again. 1:49 a.m. 30 seconds away. The CB exploded with static. Multiple voices screaming at once. All trucks exit. Weight exceeded. Remain inside. Inspection complete. Then my own voice cut through them. Calm. Resigned. You're already on the scale. The truck began sinking. Not into the ground. Into shadow. The concrete beneath the tires darkened like liquid. My wheels slowly submerged. Panic surged through me. I threw it into drive. Pressed the gas. The engine roared. But the truck didn't move forward. It moved downward. The office building across from me started distorting. Stretching taller. Windows multiplying. Doors appearing where there were none before. Each door labeled with glowing white numbers. 4822, 4823, 4824. Hundreds of them. Every number a truck unit. Every door an inspection. The speaker boomed now. Non-compliant load. I'm legal. I screamed. The security screen turned on again. But now it showed the interstate. From above. My truck merging off the highway. Only. There was no way station. No ramp. Just open desert. My truck veered off the road at full speed. Headlights carving a path through sand. Toward nothing. The timestamp struck. 1:49 a.m. The truck hit a concrete drainage culvert hidden in the dark. Launched. Rolled. Metal folding like paper. Glass exploding outward. The footage froze on impact. Back in the cab. Everything stopped moving. The sinking halted. The desert wind returned. Normal. Silent. I blinked. I was parked on the shoulder of I-80. Hazard lights flashing. No way station. No ramp. Just dirt. My truck tilted awkwardly. Front bumper smashed. Steam rising from the hood. I stumbled out. The culvert was right there. Massive. Hidden in shadow. If I'd been going full speed, I wouldn't be standing. My clock read 1:50 a.m. I had lost 2 minutes. The CB crackled weakly. Channel 17. Not 19. A whisper came through. Weight adjusted. Then silence. I turned slowly toward the highway. Another truck sped past in the right lane. He didn't slow. Didn't signal. Didn't exit. Because there was no way station. Never had been. My rear trailer door creaked softly behind me. I froze. It slowly unlatched. Swinging open by itself. Inside. The cargo was untouched. Perfect. But spray-painted across the inside wall. In thick black letters. Compliant. I never reported it. What would I say? That a weigh station tried to weigh my soul? That something unseen was checking loads no scale could measure? I finished the delivery. Quit long haul 2 weeks later. But sometimes, when I drive at night, I see those illuminated signs in the distance. All trucks exit. And for just a second, my trailer feels heavier than it should. The Appalachian campground with rules you can't break. The rules were stapled to the board like an afterthought. Faded paper. Curling edges. Someone had written them in black marker instead of printing them, which should have been my first warning. I found them at the trailhead of a small campground tucked deep in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. No cell service. No ranger station. Just 6 campsites and a forest that swallowed sound. The top of the page read, "Overnight campers, read carefully. Rule number 1, do not respond to voices after dark." I laughed when I read it. I shouldn't have. Rule number 2, if you hear footsteps circling your tent, stay still. Rule number 3, if someone calls your name from the trees, no matter who it sounds like, do not answer. The rules didn't explain why. They didn't explain what would happen if you broke them either. Just a final line at the bottom, written harder than the rest, like the marker had nearly torn the paper. Do not leave your campsite between 12 o'clock and 3 a.m. I remember checking my watch. It was 5:42 p.m. Plenty of time, I thought. The campground was quiet in a way that felt practiced. No birds. No insects. Just wind brushing through the leaves in slow waves. I chose Site 4, close to the tree line. The ground there was unnaturally flat, like it had been packed down repeatedly over many years. As I set up my tent, I noticed something carved into the fire ringstones. Names. Dozens of them. Some crossed out. Some not. Every uncrossed name ended with the same note. Left camp after dark. Night fell fast. By 9 p.m., the forest was pitch black beyond the firelight. The silence pressed in so hard my ears rang. I kept thinking about the rules, how specific they were, like they'd been written by someone who learned them the hard way. At exactly 11:58 p.m., my fire died. Not burned out. Died. The flames collapsed inward, leaving smoking embers that refused to relight. My watch ticked over to midnight. That's when I heard footsteps. Slow. Measured. Circling my tent. The footsteps didn't rush me. That was the worst part. They moved slowly, deliberately, crunching leaves in a perfect circle around my tent. Each step stopped just long enough for me to wonder if it was over, then continued. I remembered rule number 2 and stayed completely still, barely breathing. My flashlight lay beside me, untouched. The tent fabric bowed slightly inward with each passing step, like whatever was outside was leaning closer every time it came around. Then it stopped. Right behind my head. Something pressed gently against the tent wall. Not a hand. Too wide. Too smooth. A voice spoke. Not loud. Not threatening. Calm. Familiar. "Hey," it said. "You forgot something at your car." It sounded exactly like my brother. Same tone. Same pause before speaking. Even the slight rasp in his voice from an old smoking habit. My chest tightened instinctively. I almost answered before remembering rule number 1. Do not respond to voices after dark. The voice sighed softly, disappointed. "I can wait," it said. "We've got time." My watch glowed faintly. 12:17 a.m. The footsteps resumed, but closer. This time they weren't circling. They were pacing back and forth along the side of the tent, dragging slightly, like one foot didn't bend properly. The ground creaked under uneven weight. I noticed another sound then, something heavier moving farther out, just beyond the fire ring. Multiple sets of footsteps. I realized with a sick drop in my stomach that the rules never said there would only be one. A new voice joined in. A woman this time. She used my name. Perfectly. I squeezed my eyes shut and counted seconds in my head. At 12:43 a.m., something brushed the zipper of my tent. Not pulling. Tracing. Like it was learning where the opening was. The voices stopped talking to me then, and started talking to each other. I couldn't understand the words, but I understood the tone. Curious. Patient. Like hunters deciding who would go first. That's when I heard the scream. It came from Site 2. Cut off almost immediately. Then silence. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. At exactly 3:01 a.m., everything stopped at once. The footsteps vanished. The pressure on the tent lifted. The forest sounds returned all at once. Crickets, wind, distant owls, as if someone had flipped a switch. I didn't move until sunrise. When I finally crawled out, Site 2 was empty. No tent. No gear. No footprints. Just a fire ring with a fresh name carved into the stone. My name. Not crossed out. I went straight to the ranger station. It sat 5 miles down the mountain road, lights on but doors unlocked, like they'd been expecting someone. A single desk lamp illuminated stacks of binders and a thick, handwritten logbook lying open in the center. No ranger in sight. No cameras. No radio noise. The last entry was dated 2 nights earlier. Incident report. Site 2. Camper heard responding to voices after midnight. Tent found empty. Fire cold. Name added to ring. My stomach turned. The entry above it mentioned Site 4. My site. I flipped through the pages. Decades of entries. Same pattern. Same times. Different names. Every few years, the rules changed slightly, adjusted based on what didn't work. One entry from a ranger in the 1970s was underlined repeatedly. They don't take you right away. They practice with your voice first. Another page explained why rule number 4 existed. Between 12 o'clock and 3 a.m., the boundary is thin. Anyone who leaves their site is assumed to be volunteering. I checked my watch. 2:47 a.m. I hadn't realized how late it was. Footsteps echoed outside the station. Slow. Unhurried. A voice drifted through the open doorway. "Hey," it said gently. "You can come out now. It's safe." It was my voice. Perfectly copied. I backed away from the door, knocking over a chair. The logbook fell open to the final page. Written in fresh ink, still wet, was a rule I hadn't seen before. Rule number 7. If you hear your own voice, it's already too late. The footsteps stopped at the threshold. Something stepped into the light. It wore my face wrong, stretched slightly, eyes too reflective, smile a fraction too wide. Behind it, more shapes waited just out of sight, practicing sounds. Laughs. Words. Names. I did great, it said proudly. I sound just like you now. I don't remember running. I only remember waking up on the road at sunrise, miles from the campground, shoes muddy, throat raw like I'd been screaming all night. The ranger station was gone when I went back. So was the campground. So were the rules. Last night, my phone rang at 12:14 a.m. The caller ID showed my name. I didn't answer. The voicemail came anyway. It was me, whispering softly, practicing. Hey, it's safe now. You can come out. I never go camping anymore, but sometimes, in the quiet, I hear footsteps circling my bed. Waiting. If this story made you feel uncomfortable, that's not an accident. Subscribe now, because the next campground story is even worse. And comment I'm still here if you'd never survive a night like this.